I'm Cathy Reichel, life coach, counselor, speaker, video series host, and author of Strong Families, Strong People. With all the stress we're under from the world's endless bombardment, we all need a constant source of strength for ourselves and our families. That is why I'm excited to announce the release of my new book, Strong Parenting, Practical Tips for Strengthening and Enjoying Your Family. In my new book, you will read and explore proven biblical principles and practical tips that will help you think and act like a strong parent, equipping you with tools to help your kids learn good habits in powerful prayer, forgiveness, competition, genuine strength, money management, entertainment, whining, controlling your tongue, chores, and more. Don't let your family feel lost in the chaos of this world. Get your copy now by clicking on the link in the description and start your journey of strong parenting today.
Welcome to this month's episode of the Strong Families, Strong People live stream from Cathy Reichel Speaking Services. In this episode, we explore family dynamics and answer your questions live in text chat. Now presenting our host, author, counselor, and speaker, Cathy Reichel.
Hello, this is Cathy Reichel with Tips for Living Well Together, and this is a question and answer time. Thank you for the people that have sent in your questions, and I'm hoping that they will be, some of them general enough that people will find them useful. So I encourage you, if you have a question that hasn't been answered with some of the material I've covered, send it on in to my Facebook page and it'll be included next month. So I'm going to begin with prayer and then we'll just start right in with the questions. Heavenly Father, thank you for making this time useful, something that if not is not an answer to this question for someone, that it will be similar enough that it can be useful. Thank you, Father, that you will use this as an instrument for you to be able to talk with all of your people. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. First question. Okay. I have an opportunity to work overseas for great pay, great is all in capitals, but they require a COVID vaccination. From what I have researched, the three most prominent options seem sketchy. What should I do? Whew, boy, it's a crazy world we live in, isn't it? Ultimately, if they stand fast on that, you'll have to decide what's more important for you. To be able to be in control of your physical health as far as this vaccine is concerned. And it is a concern. It's a concern. I know crazy people on both sides of that argument, and I know really, really smart people on both sides of that argument. You don't say how old you are, but I trust that you're under 65 or you probably wouldn't still be working, being excited about a job overseas. I know there have been 7,000 plus reported deaths of fully vaccinated people. I know there have been reports of people that have had a reaction almost immediately, like within a half an hour, some within days. We don't know about weeks and months. But then there are other people that feel like, oh, I've got this vaccination and now I can go out again. I can go out to eat. I can leave my house. I can go in the park, and that it's worth any kind of risk for them to get that vaccine. I don't know where you are on that spectrum. I've got an idea of what might help. There's a book called Undoctored, and it talks about, it was published before this COVID thing started. And he made the point that it used to be pretty valid for people that have done some research online. And then when they go to their doctor with some questions or with some concerns, the doctor rebuffs them and says, you've read a couple of articles on the internet and you think you know more than me. And then you just sort of hang your head and feel really silly that you tried to get up there on the status of the doctor. But the man that published this Undoctored book said that in today, because information is being acquired at such an incredibly rapid pace, that could be a reasonable thing where somebody could be more up to date on the latest and greatest medical information, more so than a doctor who has 5 kids and is planning a vacation and has to put braces on teeth and that sort of thing. That's definitely not a direct quote from the book, but that's what I got out of it. So do your research. Do your research. Many of the statistics from the CDC and that sort of thing are open. I have not researched it thoroughly, but I've I've kind of piggybacked on other people that I trust that have, and just see how concerned you think you need to be about COVID, how concerned you think you need to be about the COVID vaccine. If you still are very, very cautious about taking that vaccine, you may have to make that decision. Do you want to be fully in control of that, or are you willing to take that risk to get the job with great pay? It's not great pay if you have a medical condition. And I don't know what your health is like now. If you're just really, really healthy and strong, it's unlikely that you'll get it unless you're 65 with I think 2 comorbidity issues. But it looks like a great opportunity for you. Look at what's in each one of the vaccines, and there may be one that would be better than the others for your particular health needs and for your health history. I have heard, or I've read, somebody says if you want to be able to get out of the vaccine, someone emailed me, I don't even remember who it was, note that it has that the vaccine I would be taking has this and this and this ingredient in it, and I'm not going to take that. That's a dangerous ingredient, and that there can be an argument made for that, and that it has gotten some people out of the requirement. So that's the best I can tell you. And then, of course, you will pray about this diligently. And I wouldn't pray once. I would pray again and again and again. Get yourself very, very peaceful so that you can hear what God says to you, and then do that. So I wish you well, and congratulations on at least being wanted at a great job overseas. This is a relationship one. I feel distant from my husband. He is an act of service, not a quality time guy. That has to do with the 5 love languages. Now, is act of service his love language? Or is that, yeah, that would be his love language, not a quality time guy. So quality time is your love language. Act of service is his. But I feel emotionally starved for it, for quality time. How do I make him want to spend time with me? Well, I think he does want to spend time with you, but he wants to show it by serving you, doing things that you can't do, or lifting things that are too heavy to lift, or fixing things. Quality time to you probably means talking, and talk can be very cheap. From his perspective, talk is cheap, but I've given you so much of my time and my talent and my brawn, if he's moving furniture around the house for you. So let me start with, if you want him to want to spend time with you talking, then make sure that you are affirming his gift to you in terms of services. Notice them, gush over them, talk about how wonderful he is to do that for you. And then more and more he will probably enjoy being with you. And more he'll be able to listen to you tell him what you need after you've appreciated how he gives. It sounds like you love him. And if he is performing a lot of acts of service to you, then he must love you. So I think you can definitely move through this. But make sure that when you talk, you're as concise as you can be, and you're neither condescending nor critical, just very matter of fact about what you need. I've heard that as kind of a universal complaint that men have for their ladies, is that tell me what you want. Don't tell me a story. Don't sneak up on it. Tell me exactly what you want. And then we usually go into a story. So practice it. I would say even maybe write it down. What exactly do you need from him? Do you want to hold hands, look into each other's eyes and talk for 5 minutes? Are there some subjects that you'd like to hear his heart on? But the very first thing that I think you need to do from what I'm reading is that you need to affirm the giving that he does give. And then acts of service. Would he appreciate that kind of gift from you? That's how he shows his love for you. Would he enjoy it if you do more cooking, or ask about his special hobbies or that sort of thing? But think in terms of giving. You know the languages, so you know what yours are. Do you know how he would receive a certain gift from you? What would be he consider a service that you would provide for him? And I think once you get him feeling confident and how wonderful he is, I think he'd be more likely to be able to try to understand what you want. I have an opportunity. Oh, that's the last one. My next door neighbor sometimes yells at her husband late into the evening. Oh, it's so wearying, isn't it? I don't want to get involved, but my sleep is suffering. How do I approach them without getting cops involved? Oh, my. You don't want to get cops involved unless they've been very, very resistant and hostile to your confrontation. Confrontation, very, very simple. You always, always, always start with a compliment or a respectful sentence. Something like, you have guys have been wonderful neighbors, and I've really enjoyed living here with you. Or I love the way that you've been helpful with the kids playing together, or whatever. Something that you can say that shows your respect for them and that you appreciate them. That will get their ears more open. And then you say, and I'm so concerned that when you're having loud discussions, I feel like I'm eavesdropping, and I can't, and it's bothering my sleep. So I'm hoping that you can keep your conversations quieter. Would that be something that you'd be willing to do for me? And then there's one thing that worked very, very well. It was a spur of the moment thing. And I think I was inspired by God to do it. So I'm not saying that it's a one size fits all, but we had neighbors that, I mean, knocked down, drag out 1:30 in the morning. And we had kids going to school and everything. And my husband kind of looked at me and said, what do we do? And I said, we go down there, and we rushed down there in our pajamas, and it was cold. And we went over there, and I think the door was even open. We said, are you guys okay? Is everything okay? We heard you talking so loud. We want to know, maybe you needed us. Is there anything we can do to help? And they were so contrite. They just sort of hung their heads and said, oh, we're so sorry. We need to keep it down. We know. We're so sorry that we bothered you. And it never happened again. So sometimes you can pull things off like that with enough concern, honest concern for them, not just mad at them, and offer to help. So I would say pray about this, and then have some courage, knowing that some people don't confront because they're afraid that if you say something negative to someone, something confrontational, that they'll just die right on the floor, right there. They'll just fall down and die because you've bruised them so badly. When actually, by the time you get to confront someone, they probably will think that they weren't even confronted. They just had a conversation. Sometimes people can be so hard-headed, you feel like you need a ball bat to get through, not a soft, apologetic confrontation. And the other thing is they're afraid that if I confront somebody, that they won't love me anymore, that it will destroy the relationship. Well, with an honest confrontation, if a relationship is destroyed by that, it's not a very strong relationship. But a good relationship can survive a confrontation if it's done with respect and caring. So I'll just leave you with that. But you will need to talk to them about this. If you don't say anything, they'll assume it's okay. That's why when the cops come over, because some people do that, they just call the cops without confronting the person, and that's not biblical. The Bible says if your brother's overtaken by a fault, you go to him first by yourself. If he doesn't respond, you take 2 or 3 other people with you. Then if they don't respond, you confront them in front of the whole church. Almost no church fellowships that I know of do this. A couple that do, it's very, very powerful. But it's only after that you would just sort of kick them out of your social circle or your fellowship circle. But certainly you can go to them without going to the police first. What usually happens with neighbors that go to the police first, the police go over to their house, tell them there's been a complaint, and the people say they've never talked to us about that. And you should talk to them first before you even think about calling in the authorities. So I wish you well, but start with an opening, respectful sentence. Then tell them very concisely, don't go on and on and on, tell them very concisely what's bothering you and why. And then just wait a minute, be quiet, and see how they respond. They'll probably apologize and then stop it. And if they don't, you next time you confront them again and you say, I've got to have some help with this, or I may have to go to the authorities. But I wish you well. You need your sleep. I'm trying to cut back on fast foods and junk food, but it's a little, but it is a stress reliever for me. What do you do as healthy fast food? What do you do as healthy fast food that actually scratches the craving itch for you? Well, first of all, where's all that stress coming from? Because it's not really relieving the stress, it's just making you feel better for a bit. Except it's not even doing that because you feel guilty about eating the bad food. And you're aware enough to know what is junk and what is not. So, what do you do? I think maybe your question is, do I know some healthy foods? Yes, and you need to keep them on hand. I really like carrots, and I like celery, and I like just about all kinds of fruit. I don't know what you enjoy eating, but whatever you do that's healthy and good, have it around the house. Easy, where you can just grab it and go. Um, you didn't talk about the quantity that you eat or if you're gaining weight. Um, so I don't know if that's a problem. But healthy fast food, some is much better than others, and you know what's good and what's not good. Fresh fruit is good. Raw vegetables are good. Some vegetables are even better cooked than they are raw. I think that's true for broccoli. But have it handy, have it cut up, have it chilled if you like it chilled, um, and try to deal with what the real stress is. Excuse me. I think you might have been dangerously resigned that you just have to deal with this stress. And there are some that you have to just live with. If you have a child that's very ill, that's going to go on for a while, or if you're taking care of elderly parents that are declining, that's going to go on for a while, and you don't want to hurry it. So there's some kinds of stress that you have to just sort of get on top of. And there are support groups and prayer partners. Prayer partners are wonderful. Be a prayer partner for somebody else, and there'll be one for you. And then make an agreement. You can call each other any time of the night or day. And that's so powerful. Just putting strong, powerful, positive words into the air is so very powerful. Maybe if you want to reach for a Snickers bar, instead pick up your cell phone and call your prayer partner. Those are just some ideas, but to get clear and concerned about it. Don't just roll your eyes and just say, oh, fast food is just comfort food for me. Well, don't give yourself that pass. If it's serious, it's serious. You're serious. You're important. Your health is important. It can make a difference. It can make a difference in your mood, in your patience with your children, in your resourcefulness, in your imagination. But get on top of this, and I wish you the best. My boyfriend is a solid Christian guy, generally, but is pressuring me to get more intimate than I am comfortable with at this point. How do I rein him in without breaking off the relationship? Well, have a talk with him about it. And if he can't agree to what you insist on, then you'll have to break off the relationship. It sounds like you really enjoy this person, you enjoy his company, and you think that it might have a future. Does he know that you don't want to be that intimate until you're married? Maybe you're self-conscious and you don't want to put the M word out into the air, but you must. You must. And you might be hurt. You might find out that if he doesn't share that value, and that if you won't give in to his insistence, then you'll have to break up. Then you'll have to break up with him. But you can't compromise. If you compromise, then you won't respect yourself. My 24-year-old younger brother is attracted to women, plural, that constantly destroy him emotionally. What can I do to help him break this painful cycle? Oh, that's so hard. I don't know if you're his big sister or if you're his big brother. Do you pray together with your brother? That's a very powerful thing. When siblings pray together, it's very, very powerful because you know each other so very well. Does he admit that these women destroy him emotionally? And how does he manifest that? Does he not eat? Does he cry? Does he uh, stay home from work? Does he spend too much money? Because you'll probably need to confront him with a lot of love and care and with some specifics about what makes you think he's emotionally destroyed. That's some pretty strong language. But do it with concern, but do it firmly, and have an arsenal of how he manifests that. And if he argues with you, I don't think there's much that you can do at this point, except just be a prayer partner to him would probably be the most important thing you can do. And then pray for him as well, because God can give you the exact words to say at the right time. But 24, he's younger, attracted to women, plural, that consistently destroy him. As you observe him and as you pray with him and talk to him, there's probably some things that he is doing to contribute to this, as well as the selection process. That's what I'm hearing you say with this question, is that he doesn't select women very well, and that could be that's certainly a part of it. But there's also a part of it that he's contributing more than you might be realizing to be attracted to a certain type of personality, and then to bring out masochistic sort of qualities. I think the prayer partner thing would be good. And there may be support groups in various churches that might help with relationship building skills for him. And he's 24, he's young, so he needs to get out of that before he gets married, certainly. But I think your concern for your brother is wonderful, and I wish you well. I have started twitching randomly. Ooh. I try to get enough sleep and exercise, but when someone says something that irritates me or I have a bad thought, my arm jerks. What should I do? I would get clear and concerned and pray about it for a week straight with a prayer partner. And just even ask God what to pray for specifically. But you want it to stop. Specifically, you want your arm not to jerk, and you want to not twitch. You want to stop that. And when God designed our bodies, we were wonderfully and awesomely made, and he designed us to last forever. Then when sin entered the world, we began the declining process. So we get gifted at our birth with certain proclivities to certain problems. But the design feature was originally perfect, and you can align yourself with God's will and improve your health dramatically. I would pray for a week with your best friend or your best prayer partner, or others, more than one if you can. And then after that week, I think you will have some good insight. It'll either be gone and you will have been given some keys to maintain that, or you will be given some ideas of who to call. Probably a neurologist. If you have a really good relationship with your primary care physician, you'll probably start there and tell them very honestly what's happening and how often. You started twitching randomly, so that's random. But then that bad jerk with the arm is triggered by when somebody irritates you. You didn't say when they hurt your feelings, when they irritated you. So that sounds more like an anger issue, or a nervous meaning they get on your nerves, not literally. But a neurologist might be in order. But do what you need to do to get on this and get on it quickly. That's why I didn't say pray for a month or pray for 3 months. Pray for a week. And if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, you need to see a neurologist or whoever your primary care physician would instruct you to see. I wish you well. I want to become a doctor, but have no money. How do I start this process without going mega in debt? Well, just to be practical. You'll either have to to work along with med school, or get a scholarship, or both, or manage the debt. There's mega debt, and then there's reasonable debt for that sort of thing that will pay off. But you're talking about many, many, many years in school, and it's expensive school as well. But those are the only two ways I can think. Well, three, just a miracle. Somebody walks in, knocks on the door, and says, I hear you want to be a doctor, and gives you money. But the other way is you work. It takes a little bit longer, but that you work your way through. And the other way is that you get scholarships, or you blend the two together. You work and you get scholarships. But pray about this. It's a huge decision. It's a huge investment of your time and energy. And then some people get deeply into it and realize that's not what they want to do at all. So it's probably some pretty good training, but if you just want the training, you could be an EMT or a first responder and have some pretty good training without having to be a neurosurgeon. So I would say pray about it with a prayer partner. Pray about it until you get an answer, because I think your concern is valid. If you get $500,000 in debt, which it may be by the time you would get through with it at this stage of the game, how long would it take to break even, and what would you have to do, and see if that's reasonable for you. And God can tell you. He can tell you what you need to do and exactly how to do it if you'll listen. So I wish you well, and it's a worthy goal. So if you're going to do it with your whole heart. So God bless you. My 5-year-old son screams constantly when he does not get his way. I'm trying positive and negative reinforcement, but nothing seems to work. I wish I could watch you do that. You're trying positive reinforcement. That means he goes a day without screaming and he gets a toy at the dollar store. Positive reinforcement would be he's very clear on what he needs to do to get a reward. And if you're doing that right, you have a chart. He's 5 years old. They'll do almost anything for a sticker. But you're very, very clear on the doctrine. Because if you don't have doctrine, correction and reproof won't go anywhere. Exactly what you want him to do. I want you to go, maybe there's a time where he screams more if he's tired in the afternoon or first gets up in the morning. But frame it as concisely as you can, that if he gets, say he screams in the morning getting up, and he screams because he doesn't want to eat supper, and he screams before he goes to bed. So you draw that out on a chart. Got up a happy boy, and if he does, he gets a sticker, or what would be a reward for him. You know your kid. And if he doesn't, he gets a frowny face. And if he does it at lunch, same thing, sticker or frowny face, as well as, very good, thank you, that's very helpful. I really love having the peace and quiet at dinner time. And then you look at it for a day, and if he gets smiley faces all day long, then he gets another one step up of a reward. And if he can do it for a whole week, when he does it for a whole week, then he'll get to go for a walk in the woods with Dad, or something that seems really, really big to him. But frame it so he knows exactly what you want from him. And you don't want to go on and on and on and on, because he can lose the subject for all the words. But you do want to let him know how that would bless you, for him to be quiet. You love to hear his voice, and you like to have him around, but the screaming just won't do. He's much too bright of a boy, much too wonderful of a boy to be a screamer. He's just bigger than that. So that's the positive reinforcement. Negative reinforcement, of course, would be reproof, time out, taking a privilege away. Some people use spanking. I think the rod of correction is very valuable for some people that are some little girls. All you need is a stare and say that's not right, and they burst into tears. You don't need the rod of correction with them usually. Sometimes with big tough boys you do, to get their attention, because they're so full of their little hormones that they don't pay attention to what you say. So one whack on the behind, and they're usually, what's this? I'm not going to get into physical punishment, and you can get arrested for child abuse. You have to figure that out for yourself. But the Bible says the rod of correction will drive foolishness from them, so I wouldn't totally rule it out. And then I would say if you can't make that work, you need to go to a good Christian family counselor, and they can work with dynamics in your family and help you out there. I'm very much into family counseling. I think it's very useful. My blood pressure is through the roof, and I don't have insurance. How can I get healthy and peaceful without breaking the bank? Well, I know blood pressure. I'm not minimizing what you said, but I know blood pressure. I can take my blood pressure and then sit a minute, take a few deep breaths, get peaceful, just rest, think a little bit of happy thoughts, and my blood pressure goes down. Now, if I get up and whatever was bothering me starts bothering me again, that really wasn't helpful. But you can control blood pressure. I don't want to say just with your mind, but I'm saying you can get your blood pressure can be different quickly. You don't need medicine usually to do that. But I would talk to, you say you don't have insurance. Do you know anyone in the medical profession that you could talk to about blood pressure and nutrition? Have you done your research online about lowering blood pressure naturally? There's many, many, many magazines out there, and just articles that you can read about that for free. And when you do it, if you're going natural instead of wanting to go through the medical people, if you're going to go natural all the way, not go natural a little bit, but through the roof. What is causing that? Is that physical or is that emotional? And if you don't have insurance, that's no reason for you not to get some kind of good advice on this. Insurance doesn't heal you. It can just get you to some people that know about your condition. So you can learn about your condition and see if you can find a natural remedy for it. And I guarantee you, in your circle of friends, you've probably got at least 2 people that could help you with that. So I would say pray. And do you have a prayer partner? Spouse would be good. But I wouldn't act until you pray. Pray about it and see what, and then listen. And just know that God wants you well. He doesn't want you scared. He doesn't want your blood pressure pounding on your blood vessels. So he will give you some ideas. But it sounds like you would like to be healthy and peaceful, and you'd like to do it God's way, naturally, rather than going to the medical people first. And I think that makes sense. I was taught about third aid. First aid, when you get some kind of sickness, you go to God directly. You and God figure it out. But you're not getting results. So you go to somebody that will pray with you, a prayer partner. Get some spiritual muscle behind your spiritual muscle. Then the third aid is medical people. But whatever it is, get your health. Get your health. Peaceful and healthy. That's what you said. I like that. How can I get healthy and peaceful without breaking the bank? And if you have to go to a doctor, don't condemn yourself, but go. I would encourage you, find those 2 friends that you have that can help you out with this, and pray. Okay, next. My kids, 7 and 10, are getting so bored with the COVID shutdown. We try to take walks and such, but it's freezing here. Okay, this is an older question. It's in Maine. Yeah, it could still be cold in Maine. Any thoughts on great things to do indoors for fun? Well, soon, even in Maine, it's going to be very warm and nice. But I would say, board games. There's a great new board game out there called Heroes of Providence Eternal, HOPE, that you can download for free and play online. And it's just wonderful. It helps the kids develop character, and you get to be a hero. And it's a dice game. You roll the dice, so you don't always know exactly where it's going to go, and it really helps develop character. There are other games like that, I don't, let's see, your kids are 7 and 12. Yeah, I think they're old enough to play that, especially with you. That would be fun. Oh, other games, Boggle, Scrabble, Sorry, the memory game. There's so many of them out there, but I think that's good, and you get to know each other better. And you can do exercises inside. Calisthenics are done inside a gymnasium frequently. Stretches, running in place, push-ups, sit-ups, that kind of thing. It was just fun to do. And you've got cell phones, so you could make little movies together. Oh, there's books out there. There's articles out there on what to do inside, but you still can go outside some, and you should. Pray together as a family. This could be a great time for you to build prayer into the routine of the kids' lives, and it would make a difference in the rest of their life. You're getting moody, you're getting irritable, you're getting crotchety. Pray, and just thank God that you're alive in a nice warm house in Maine. So I would say that's first. Pray together, do exercises inside, and experiment with some board games. And teach skills. How about that? Teach the kids how to clean things well. Teach them how to make and bake things. Teach them how to fix little things. Teach them keys on the computer that they will need to know in school later on. And have fun with them. God bless you. My 12-year-old daughter consumes a lot of fashion blogs and style videos, and wants to start experimenting with makeup. I think she's too young. What should I do? You don't say if you're mom or dad. I think you're probably mom. You don't want to set it up to where you're punishing her, or that you think that there's something wrong with her for liking what she likes. I would suggest, and I don't know you, and I don't know her, and I don't know your relationship, but I would suggest, to be safe, that you just show a lot of enthusiasm for what she's interested in, learn some things about specifically what she's interested in so that you can converse with her, and try to remove any kind of criticism, other than maybe she might just be a little too young for this. But at 12, yeah, I don't know what your habits are, but at 12, sometimes there's a big girl 12 and there's a little girl 12. I don't know what she is, just in her development. But have fun with it with her. Have fun with her. Ask her questions, and she can start with a little bit of very, very pale lipstick without it being dramatically different. And ask her what she thinks about it. What does she think about for younger girls, as opposed to 16-year-old girls, as opposed to 18-year-old girls, as opposed to 50-year-old girls. Just make it interesting, make it fun. Learn about things with her. Get her to teach you what she's learning and what it means. Now, if the fashion is expensive, what a marvelous time to teach her about things not being worth what they cost. Or are there different ways that you can get the same effect? It's a wonderful time to teach her about advertising and how advertising sells things, and it makes people make bad decisions and they don't know it. What a wonderful time to be able to get with her and teach her about that. If your concern is that she's becoming vain and too interested in her looks as opposed to her character or her mood or her conversation style, what a wonderful time to nip that in the bud. But dig into it with her. Just love her, have fun with her. I'm assuming this is mommy. Share with her how your mother thought about makeup, how you got into makeup, and why you wear the makeup you wear and you don't wear other kinds of makeup, and how much money it's worth to you. And maybe fill in with a story here or there about what you know about some products that have had to go off the market because they weren't what they said they were. They didn't do what they said they would do. And I would make sure you pray with your daughter, and that your prayer life is very rich and full and exciting. And that way your words will be interesting to her. She'll want to know what mom thinks about something instead of trying to hide something. But definitely no criticism of her. Now, you feel free to criticize a certain fashion or a certain conversation that's on the blog that would be shallow or manipulative, trying to get people to pay large amounts of money for something that's not worth it. And then make sure you ask her what she thinks about that. And your words will be much more important to her than if you just come off as, oh, mom's just critical of me. That destroys relationships. So that's, boy, I'd like to know how that turns out. Interesting. Okay. My husband likes watching ESPN, but the announcer's voice gives me migraines. How do we compromise without him feeling constrained? Well, if I put his constrainment up to a migraine headache, that's I'm worried about both of you. What about earphones, headpieces? And I assume you've got probably more than one television. Maybe you don't, but you don't have to be in the same room with him. But you got to do something, because you can't be getting a headache every time he watches ESPN, and you start hating ESPN. Is it, you said the announcer's voice? Is it always the same announcer? I think maybe you have a problem with him watching so much ESPN. So maybe you need to talk about that with him. Does he know that the announcer's voice gives you a headache? Or would he just feel like you were criticizing him? Make sure that before you confront him on anything, that you let him know how much you love him, and that you want him to be able to enjoy what he likes on television. And do you pray with your husband? If you don't pray with your husband, that's something you're really missing out on. But yeah, headphones might be the easiest census thing to deal with it, but I feel like there's some other issues in there too. So all the stuff that I said about a confrontation, start off with a respectful sentence, then let them know very concisely what it is that's bothering you, and then be quiet and see how they respond. And then if you need to say more, tell them what you'd like for them to do for you. So next. My wife talks a lot when I get home from work, and I need quiet. How do I express this to her without hurting her heart? Well, you must. I would say, tell her how much you love her, how much you appreciate her concern, how you're really interested in her day and how it went, and you also want to share your day and how it went. But you're just your personality makeup is with all the stress of the day. When you get home, I need, and tell her exactly what you need. I need a half hour, 20 minutes, need to put my feet up, read the paper, just be quiet, close my eyes for 20 minutes. And then I want to sit down with you. So make sure she knows that you're not avoiding her, but this is about you. You really need to have that after your day so that you can appreciate her more. But you must talk to her about it. Do you and your wife pray together? If you don't, pray with her. And then these things come up and she can understand your heart better because she's gone with you in prayer about it. But you must talk to her about it, and you can do this. You can put it in word. You can use words. Always start off with how much you love and appreciate her. And then let her know exactly what's bothering you and what you'd like for her to do. And pray, because God can give you exactly the right words to say. Okay? I met my girlfriend in college. We are about to graduate and go home to different states. Should we be done? Or can long-distance relationships last? Well, I guess nobody can answer that but you. Do you want the relationship to go on? Certainly long-distance relationships can last for a while, but if you're serious about it, I think you need to let your desires be made known. Maybe you're not quite ready to make a commitment yet, but you need to be at least thinking about getting a commitment, or you should just be done. But nobody can answer that but you. And I suggest that you pray about it and get a prayer partner, maybe your dad or your mom or your best friend, or just somebody that you know prays really, really prays well. Somebody that is very sincere and passionate and clear in their prayers. If you don't have somebody like that, see if you can find somebody online that's a prayer that will pray with you about it. It's a very, very important decision, because you call her your girlfriend, so you've had an exclusive relationship with her, and that's a serious thing to have. Now, if you're ready to break it off, this would be a wonderful time to break it off. But if she's the best thing you've seen around, and you're about to go into a job where there's maybe not that many people around, many young people like you around, you maybe don't want to let her go. So pray about it and pray and then listen, see what God tells you. My boyfriend has been hurt in previous relationships. And we did that one last week. That sounds familiar. Last month. My 5-year-old son starts wrestling fights on the school playground nearly every week. He does not watch any violent media, but nothing I instruct seems to help. What should I do? Well, I don't know what's been done so far. He doesn't watch violence. And wrestling, a lot of times that's just, little boys just do that for fun. It doesn't mean that they're mad, but you say it's a wrestling fight. I guess the school's involved, so they've talked to you. He does not watch violence, but nothing I instruct seems to help. Do you pray with him? That can help settle him and help him grow and help him work through whatever it is that he's angry about. Has he said that he's angry? What does he tell you about that? It seems like probably a good idea would be to talk to the teacher and get the facts about what goes on. Is it always with the same little boy or two, or is it different all the time? Is he provoked? Is he being bullied? You've got to dig into this. Nothing I instruct. So if you're just saying, don't do that anymore, that's pretty lame. If it really is happening nearly every week, start with the teacher and then see where that leads you. And you don't mention our 5-year-old son, so I don't know if you're a single parent. If you talk with the boy's other parent, definitely do that and pray together for him. Because sometimes it's not that they want to hide what's going on, but they don't have the vocabulary to express it at just 5. But I'm glad that you're asking that question, because you do need to dig into it. And I like family counselors. Family counselors are wonderful because it gets everybody on the same page and going in the same direction. But if it continues, pray with him, let him know what you want, let him know what a wonderful boy he is and how surprised you are that he's getting sucked into that kind of thing. And find out if it's anger buildup or if he's just trying to make friends and doesn't know how. But pray with him and then get him some help. And I would recommend family counseling if you need that. But you might find out he's being bullied and that's he's being antagonized. So dig into that, and I wish you well. So if you've got a prayer partner, good. If you don't, find somebody that you can pray with about this and pray with your son. Oh, Heather wrote this in. Great advice about experimenting with makeup. There is a tremendous difference in wanting to be put together versus being vain as well. It's wise to want to be put together without criticizing her daughter for her likes and simply enlightening her. Good, good. Thank you for that feedback, Heather. Okay, my 15-year-old has a bright future, but is starting to hang out with friends that are a bad influence. How do I bring this up without shredding his social life? You just do. You just bring it up. You start just like all the rules for confrontation. You'd start, in this example, he's 15. He's a nephew, so he's not your son. He's a nephew, but is starting to hang out with friends that are a bad influence. You need to be very specific about what do you mean by that? What is the bad influence? Is he starting to drink, underage drinking? Is it going promiscuous sexual advances on women? Is it dropping his grades, using bad language? I don't know exactly what it is, but you've got something in mind. So you need to be very matter of fact about that when you when you confront him. And you always, always start off with a respectful opening. You know, you're really great in school. I've always thought a lot of you. I think you're a sharp person. And then tell him what you're concerned about with his friends. And if you know them by name, say them by name, because he's probably got more than one or two. He's probably got several friends. I'm concerned about this one, and this is why I'm concerned about that. And then exactly what you're noticing. And don't be matter of fact. Don't be critical, and don't be condescending, and don't minimize it. Just say, I've been hearing you talk lately, and it sounds like you're giving yourself a pass on using foul language. You never used to do that. That concerns me. I noticed Joe Bell also does that. I'm wondering if hanging around with Joe Bell is having a bad influence on you. Then be quiet and let him respond. And it may take a while for it to settle in. So you may be quiet for a while. How do I bring this up without shredding his social life? Well, I don't think you can shred his social life. But if he hears you being critical for no good reason, then he'll be irritated, and your words won't mean very much. But if you build him up, if you affirm him, if you let him know that he's important, he's an important person, or you wouldn't be taking your time to do this. Be as specific as you can be, and then know that you probably won't get a whole lot done with just that one confrontation. But you can make him become more aware of it, and him notice things more. And then be prepared to get together again and again and again. And if you're both strong Christians, pray together. Pray, pray, pray. You can be a turning point in that boy's life where he is headed down the wrong trail, and you stop it. You kick it in the bud. So I really appreciate that you're willing to get involved with your nephew. My wife snores horribly, but denies it. I filmed her snoring once, but she refuses to believe it and thinks I'm pranking her. I'm starved for sleep. What should I do? She thinks you're pranking her. Do you prank her? Do you have a history of pranking your wife? I just watched the movie Gaslight the other night, where a man was trying to drive his wife crazy so nobody would believe her witness that she knew something on his life. Anyway, I hope you don't prank her so much that she can't believe any confrontation. You've got it on film, and she still doesn't believe it. She snores horribly. How can she deny it if she snores horribly? I'm going to believe that you are really starved for sleep and that you're not exaggerating. It is a figure of speech, but that you're really serious about this. If you have confronted her several times in love, saying how much you love her and that she's a lovely lady and that you want to sleep with her. I love being in bed with you. I love being your husband. I love us being in the bed together. But you do snore, and so I'm going to have to go sleep in another room. But I wish that you would get some help with this. And you might even go so far as to do some research on the internet, or to talk with some friends that you have. There's a lot of products out there that can help her, but she has to agree to do it. But you could do the work for her. You could get some information that she could read about, and then you could get maybe some natural means or some clinics or some doctors that she could call and talk to. You don't say if you have insurance or not, but the important thing is that you get on it. And if she's snoring that bad, there's something going on in her sinuses that needs to be fixed. And that would be something that you would show concern for, as well as your lack of sleep, that she needs help. And do you pray with her? I don't know if you've confronted her kind of jokingly, like, oh, you snore, isn't that funny? You know, comedians talk about people snoring. That isn't it funny? No, it's not funny. It's not funny. She's got a problem and you've got a problem, and you need to talk about it and you need to get it fixed. And it's very fixable. Snoring is a fixable thing. But I would pray with her about it and let her know how concerned you are for her health as well as your sleep. What do I do to avoid road rage? Oh.
Give in to the dark side.
I don't usually get road rage because I'm frequently the one that would cause it. I could go on. I haven't had a speeding ticket for like 10 years, and I haven't had an accident in I don't know how long. So in a certain sense, I'm a good driver, but drive fast and take chances. There are many times where my husband would be driving. Usually if we're in the car, he'll be driving because he can't really rest if I'm driving. But we'll be sitting there, and there's a car way up the road. To me, I feel like it's way up the road. And he'll wait patiently until he gets a wider margin. But I will say that people do toot their horns at me sometimes. But I mean, I'm not in accidents. I don't cause accidents. I think my judgment's better. But I think some people have road rage at me because, you know, I maybe have been sitting there for a minute or two, and what I thought was not a sufficient space for me to get in, all of a sudden it's like, if I'm going to leave this place before bedtime, I'm going to have to get a little smaller space and get in there. And then somebody would toot their horn at me. So what do I do to avoid road rage? I just give everybody a lot of slack. Some people are self-centered. It's like, I've got to be first in line. I'm not like that. But just give people a break. You don't know what they've had to deal with that morning. You don't know what kind of medication they may be on. They may be doing very, very well to be driving as well as they are. And some people are just rude and think they own the highway. And just pray for them, because they get lots of tickets and they get in accidents a lot. So you don't need to be mad at them. Just be thankful that you have 2 good arms and 2 good legs and a nice car to be in. And ask God to bless them. Ask God to help them be more aware of their driving. And you might be praying for me. Okay.
And here's our final question.
Here's my favorite quote. Here you go. See how this goes. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. That's a good quote. That's a really good quote.
Amen.
So, Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, thank you for these wonderful people that send in these questions, and I ask you to ride like the wind on these answers and have them make sense where they need to make sense. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Bye-bye. The world is a mess. Fear and rage fill the headlines. Families are fractured. Friends are distant. The world needs hope. What if there were a way to celebrate the things that unite us all?
Heroes of Providence Eternal is an effort to unite people around timeless values of courage, selflessness, optimism, creativity, and passion, to drive darkness back and bring out the best in people with living stories of grand adventure and genuine eternal hope. Introducing Hope Legend, a new tabletop role-playing game that empowers you to create your own heroic legend with family and friends around your kitchen table or online for free. Create your own epic hero character and join forces with the people that you love to go on exciting journeys, exploring the complex new fantasy world of Tereth, driven by the choices that you make. And it helps that the game is a lot of fun.
Can we get something other than a 1?
3, 1.
Yeah! Yes! Yes!
Oh my god.
I wanted the 3 1s personally.
Of course you would, too.
Don't settle for only consuming other people's heroic stories in books and TV and movies and video games. Become the hero that you've dreamed of and create lasting memories with the people that you love.
It's fast-paced, it's dynamic.
So you never know where it's actually going to go.
Easily pick up and learn to play.
To help bring families closer together.
Create fun worlds and characters for people to interact with.
Everyone's turn counts.
It's so personal and you get to know your friends even deeper. It's just an incredible, amazing journey.
Our world needs hope. Now is your time to create your legend for free at heroesofprovidenceeternal.com.
If you want to help us build the world of hope together, please consider supporting us on Patreon. To connect with other heroes, join us on social media. To explore the world of Tereth and create your own legend, visit heroesofprovidenceeternal.com.
Hi, I'm Cathy Reichel, life coach, counselor, speaker, video series host, and author of Strong Families, Strong People. With all the stress we're under from the world's endless bombardment, we all need a constant source of strength for ourselves and our families. That is why I'm excited to announce the release of my new book, Strong Parenting, Practical Tips for Strengthening and Enjoying Your Family. In my new book, you will read and explore proven biblical principles and practical tips that will help you think and act like a strong parent, equipping you with tools to help your kids learn good habits in powerful prayer, forgiveness, competition, genuine strength, money management, entertainment, whining, controlling your tongue, chores, and more. Don't let your family feel lost in the chaos of this world. Get your copy now by clicking on the link in the description and start your journey of strong parenting today.